Mike Jordan claiming pole position for the first race of round 7 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge at Castle Combe. The race meeting sponsored by his own sponsors, so they must be very happy before the start here. Michael Caine qualified in second place on the grid, 36 hundredths of a second behind him. And in third place sits the familiar green 88 car of Martin Short. Short was second in his qualifying group, just 32 hundredths behind Mike Jordan, but Jordan's group lines down the right-hand side behind the pole man. Steve Sutcliffe, second in the other group, lines up behind the man who was quickest in his qualifying session. That's Michael Caine. So the field qualifying in 2 groups of 19, all 38 cars, and that's a massive grid here, ready for the green lights, and away they go. Poor start from Michael Caine, he'll be swamped. Martin Short flies through the front row men, absolutely demolishes them. Sutcliffe right behind him, the 2 green men, and there's a contact in the middle of the field. That's Flux goes off. So too does Ian Ashley, the number 48 machine, but Ian Flux, former champion, smashed car, so too Ian Ashley. I think the 2 of them definitely out of the race there. Well, didn't see what triggered that off, but with this 38 car grid so close packed at Castle Combe, very small, very tight circuit for these monsters of the track. Martin Short leads, the car behind him is Ian McKellar, then Steve Sutcliffe, the green car, Phil Hindley, Michael Caine, Mike Jordan down in 6th place. What a dreadful start from the pole position man. Sure his sponsors won't be quite so pleased about that getaway. Hand out to the cockpit, waving furiously, is Peter Wheeler, the chairman of the company. Chairman of TVR, hand out to the cockpit now. Either he's got a problem, no, he's seen the red flags. So red flags, race has been stopped. Matt Doman bails out of the 34 car. Replay with Eugene O'Brien. Steve Hyde to the left of us as we get away from the line. Phil Hindley to the right, trying to go around John Kent, the purple car. Being leaned on by Steve Hyde, pushed into, that's Ian Flux going across the nose. Flux started alongside Eugene O'Brien. Well, it looks as though a rub from Steve Hyde into Eugene O'Brien in the middle of the picture here. There goes Flux across his nose. Hyde just clips him. Ashley goes off on the inside, and look at that, the yellow car there bouncing over the top of Matt Doman's purple machine was David Porter, right to the left-hand side of the picture there. So those 4, Flux, Ashley, Doman and Porter, won't take the restart. Well, away they go again. They hadn't officially started according to the red flag rules, and that's good news for Mike Jordan. But again, Martin Short goes down the inside of him. Will Jordan hold on to the lead this time? He went from 1st to 6th in the first 2 corners last time. Here's Steve Hyde. Looks like he's restarted from the back of the grid now as we go through Folly and up Avon Rise. Look how many cars he's just steaming past. He's well off the racing line, but at this stage it doesn't matter. This is like a video game. He's just driving around the outside of everybody. There's Peter Wheeler, the chairman, alongside him. Picks up a place there through Quarry. Very bold driving indeed. This time of asking, though, Mike Jordan does have the lead. Ian McKellar in 2nd, Martin Short in 3rd, Steve Sutcliffe in 4th place. Ian McKellar went from 5th on the grid to 2nd last time, 5th on the grid to 2nd this time as well. Really does have getting the 96 car underway fairly well sorted. Well, with that first corner shunt, or start line shunt I guess you should call it, taking 4 cars out of the field. Slightly fewer for Steve Hyde to pass. Down into the chicane he comes. This one after Tower is called Bobby's. 2 new chicanes on the circuit here to try and reduce the straight line speed, especially of cars like these. Leaders streaming through, 34 tightly packed cars. James Patterson with a big slide coming out of Camp Corner, the final turn. Riding with Martin Short, there's Ian McKellar behind him. So Short has got past McKellar, and McKellar almost touching him there as they come into Quarry. Very close indeed. Mike Jordan will be running away from this group if he can, and he is being able to, as the squabble for 2nd place behind is 4 cars. There is Short, the green machine, with the yellow window frame. Behind him is McKellar, the checkered flag on the nose. And then Steve Sutcliffe just about to lose a place, as well Martin Short isn't here in fact as they come out of Camp Corner. Sutcliffe got a very bad run through the 2nd chicane. Martin Short, well, he just managed to hold off Ian McKellar there, but on the run up to Avon Rise, McKellar goes past into 2nd place. So Short down to 3rd. Let's have a look behind them, because I think there's been a change for 4th position. There has. There is the number 1 car, the reigning champion. Phil Hindley is in 4th. Steve Sutcliffe in 5th, and Sutcliffe having another look at him as Hindley decides to try and move on Martin Short there. Big slide from McKellar. He's holding them up. Martin Short is stuck behind him. And he's got Phil Hindley swarming all over the back of his machine. Well, McKellar got away with that one, but Short was very nearly under attack there from Hindley as a result. Second, third, fourth and fifth. There is Martin Short in third place. Looking back now, Phil Hindley under braking. Plenty of throttle on the way out. And then Steve Sutcliffe, the dark green car, holding on to the tail of this group as they rush down to the final turn, Camp Corner. And Hindley looks down the inside. Short close enough to the apex to defend against it. McKellar got inside him there. Let's see what Phil Hindley can do. Well, huge battles all the way down the order. Very brave man who makes a pass down the inside there as you come up to Avon Rise. Now riding again with the 10 car of Steve Hyde. Battling away and again using the outside line. This is very much inventor passing manoeuvre here for Steve Hyde. And the 15 car just manages to stay tight on the inside. Giles Cooper avoids the contact as Steve Hyde went around the outside. And then Cooper cementing his place by chopping back in front of Hyde. Change for second place. Martin Short goes back past Ian McKellar. Well, that was a good move by Short. Went through into Tower and took the position. McKellar now back into third. Fourth is Hindley. There is McKellar in third place and now trying to go him around the outside again for second. This time Short's on the inside, McKellar's on the outside. McKellar will lose out and Hindley wants to capitalise. He's going to take a run down the inside into the right-hander at Folly. Oh, just a tiny rub. Now up to Avon Rise. This is a left-hander. And McKellar has the line into Quarry, the right-hander. Will Phil Hindley try something down the inside? Well, there's no way unless he's going to use all four wheels on the grass. McKellar desperately defending here. Sutcliffe, the green car, and right behind him is John Kent. So this is now a five-way battle. Martin Short taking a second stab at the corner there, but it didn't matter because right behind him the battle breaks loose. Mistake by McKellar, held up Hindley. Sutcliffe went through, he's going past them both. Sutcliffe gets past McKellar. Hindley with the headlights ablaze goes by him as well. A mistake by McKellar. Well, it looks like it. There he is. Oh, hand out to the cockpit. No, more than a mistake, I think. I think that is definitely a problem for McKellar. Riding with Eugene O'Brien through the chicane. You see McKellar's just gone straight on ahead of us. And that wasn't a brake problem. He's done that deliberately. He's driven off the track. So Ian McKellar out of the race with a mechanical problem. Yeah, absolutely certain. No way of continuing in that tightly fought contest at the front. He will now try and cruise round slowly back to the pits so that the car can be fixed for next time. Steve Hyde here, still in the thick of the action. Right ahead going round Phil Dyer, the 24 car, is Giles Cooper, the number 15 machine. Dyer over the curbs there, trying to stay out of the way as he gets put a lap down. On board with Jeff Evans at Tower. Oh my goodness! Oh, just waiting for the thump, and eventually a spin and a half later it does materialise. So Evans in the barriers, and I think he'll probably call it a day there, giving the team something to do before race 2. Well, this battle continues. Giles Cooper in the middle of it, right behind him 45, returning to his car is Simon Harris. And Steve Hyde goes down the inside of him. Harris has missed several races. Julian Locke, the team mechanic, has been substituting for him while he's been unfit. Now Simon Harris back at the wheel. What a place to return to. Castle Combe really is a very, very busy racetrack indeed for these TVRs. You can see the driver's right hand on the wheel there from the camera position. What you can't see is that the left hand is barely ever on the wheel. It's almost always on the gear lever, changing up or down a gearbox. Well, Martin Short now running away from this battle like Mike Jordan has run away from it. He's managed to break free. Steve Sutcliffe leading the one car of Phil Hindley. The yellow nose on the blue car, that is 99, John Kent. And right behind them, Michael Caine, who started on the outside of row 1 on the grid. Well, this battle now as tyres and brakes get worn. Little push there from Phil Hindley. Slide for Sutcliffe and a big slide for Hindley as he gets the power down nice and early. Oh my goodness! Made contact with John Kent. He's gone right across his nose, slammed into the barriers. He's racing on. Well, yellow flags are out. No, he's not racing on, surely. No, I think it was just momentum that carried him on. Phil Hindley stopping before he gets onto the track. And it looks as though his steering might have been broken there. So Phil Hindley out of that battle. Steve Hyde coming down to the chicane behind Ashley Ward, and Ward's got it all wrong. Goes over onto the grass on the inside. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Hits the tyres as well. Spun himself out there. Oh, pay attention, Ashley, when you're rejoining and there's a big group of cars behind you. Yes, thank you very much. Oh dear. Well, he's adding insult to injury there, really compounding his problems by getting away with not quite enough observation and a little too much in the way of throttle. Replay here of a bizarre incident at Old Paddock. Phil Dyer spins out, but trying to avoid him and therefore having to really do some grass cutting there. Lucky to avoid the narrowing gap between Dyer and the tyres. Checkered flag awaits. Mike Jordan from pole position wins the first race at Castle Combe at a race meeting sponsored by his personal sponsors. And so victory for him, he will be delighted, so too will be the sponsors. Third place behind Martin Short, Steve Sutcliffe at the line by a fraction of a second from Michael Caine. But it's smiles all round for Mike Jordan. Jordan the victor then, and after that start line incident, Eugene O'Brien claiming a narrow sixth place. Mike Jordan, the winner of the first race of round 7 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge at Castle Combe, takes pole position for race 2. The rest of the field line up as they finished, which means Martin Short in second place and Steve Sutcliffe in third, except Jamie Campbell-Walter joins the field in fourth place. He got points for fourth place in race 1, even though he didn't start it. They had one car too many, and he was the man whose name was drawn out of the hat to take a bye. Don't worry too much about the smoke coming out from under the engine bay. Jamie can do that all by himself. So he'll start in fourth place, and looking forward to getting into action here. Just hoping that they've slightly spilt a little bit of oil on the engine as opposed to the fact that it might be about to catch fire. Good healthy crowd, fine conditions, and 38 cars on the grid for the start of race 2 of round 7. Somebody creeping on the outside. That was the white car, 87, James Patterson. He got away, so did everybody else, and Martin Short, best start of all again. This time from the outside of row 1 rather than from third place on the grid. Jumps Mike Jordan. Jordan really has got to get this starting business sorted out. No point qualifying on pole if you drop down the order as soon as the green lights come on. Sutcliffe in third, Campbell-Walter in fourth as the field spreads out here. Phil Hindley there, retired a lap from the end of race 1, so he's starting right down the order. That should be good for fun. Jeff Evans also spun out of the race, so he's further down the order as well this time. Chasing the number 12 machine of John Ravenscroft, goes past him. John Hutchinson in 42 runs wide as well, so he picks up 2 places there at chicane. That's not bad indeed for your first run through. Short, Jordan, Sutcliffe, Campbell-Walter, there's the top 4. Troy Dunlop in 5th place with Michael Caine right behind him in 6th position. Then the yellow and red machine is Eugene O'Brien in 7th. Steve Cole behind him in 8th. The white car of Patterson in 9th as Martin Short holds on to his lead through Camp Corner, but not by much. Well, that is coming onto the start-finish straight, and that is where Mike Jordan's sponsors' guests will be. Watching the action, Jordan determined now to win this one as well. Goes to the inside at Avon Rise, doesn't work. Martin Short really defending hard, and you can tell that because everybody's bunched right up behind him. Sutcliffe third, Campbell-Walter comes alongside. Side by side they come. Campbell-Walter's on the inside, but can he outbrake Sutcliffe? He can't really. Yes, he can. Mike Jordan just far enough ahead. Looking back now, Jordan second, Campbell-Walter lights ablaze in third place. Oh, and it looks like a little fractional gear change mistake there by Martin Short. That's all the chance that Mike Jordan needs through Hammerdown and into Tower. He goes down the inside, very close. Martin Short fighting him off and determined to keep the door shut on Jamie Campbell-Walter behind. Jordan trailing smoke as he locks a brake, braking desperately late into Bobby's chicane. Martin Short second, Campbell-Walter third, Sutcliffe in 4th place. And that quartet now starting to ease away a little bit from the rest of the grid. Jordan Short, Campbell-Walter, Caine in 5th place there. Then Troy Dunlop, Eugene O'Brien, and side by side Richard Finney goes through on the inside of Steve Cole. Cole onto the grass, and that is problems for him because John Kent comes past him now. 19, Grant Tromans is next up. Tim Hood right behind him looking to make a move, didn't happen. With Steve Hyde right behind that battle, there is Hood. Ian McKellar going around the outside ahead of us here. He's on the outside of Tromans. We cut back to the inside, trying to get past Tim Hood. Oh, big slide. There's contact there, certainly. There is Tim Hood now. Pops out to defend as we go into the chicane at the S's. Well, here comes this fraught battle. There is the checkered noseband of Ian McKellar. Worked his way through them in fairly short order, didn't he? With Jeff Evans, Giles Cooper to our right there, side by side through the chicane. Oh, Giles Cooper picks up the position. And a lot of brake locking going on right ahead. Now Jeff Evans gets the power on through the long left-hand sweeper, hammer down into Tower Corner. Goes for the inside manoeuvre under braking, and he gets the place. Jeff Evans working his way up the order after problems in race 1. Mike Jordan leading, Martin Short right behind him. These two not giving up the battle for the lead. Third place Steve Sutcliffe, Michael Caine in fourth, Jamie Campbell-Walter in fifth place in the Black Machine. And, oh my goodness me, Eugene O'Brien loses a spot there. John Kent comes flying by him through the chicane. Absolutely shot past. This is Eugene O'Brien's first race in the TVR Tuscans. Raced in touring cars, saloon cars, single-seaters of all makes and descriptions, sports races. Very few of the British categories that Eugene O'Brien hasn't raced in at one time or another. Ian McKellar goes past him to pick up a place, and Michael Caine goes past Steve Sutcliffe as well. Caine up into third, Sutcliffe fourth, Jamie Campbell-Walter in fifth place. Campbell-Walter slingshots around to the outside, and Peter Wheeler takes to the grass, gets it wrong at the chicane. And yeah, very careful to have a quick look before he rejoins. Slow motion replay here, Camp Corner, Gary Britnell getting it all wrong, trying to go down the inside of David Porter. Running wide over the grass on the exit. Keeps it nicely together there. You've got to have a calm head to do that, because if you get out of the throttle there, the thing will spin immediately. Lead battle now in amongst the tail enders. Mike Jordan still leading Martin Short. Michael Caine there in third place, braking very hard indeed, harder than expecting to, I think, because of the slower cars ahead. Right behind him, Jamie Campbell-Walter. Let's see how that develops from Martin Short's viewpoint as we thread our way through the eye of the needle on the way into the chicane. The back markers fighting their own battle there as well, trying to stay out of the way of the leaders, but positions changing there probably as a result of them being lapped and having to compromise racing lines and so on to allow the lead battle through. Jordan, Short, Caine, Campbell-Walter, 1, 2, 3 and 4 as close as you like. Top 4 covered by a second on the road, and the opportunity for any of them to win this one just needs a little mistake from any of the others. Sutcliffe now in 5th place. McKellar in 6th. Kent behind him in 7th place. Hindley, the reigning champion, in 8th place. Then right behind him, Troy Dunlop in 9th and Eugene O'Brien in 10th position. So McKellar, who had problems in the first race, retired a lap from the end with mechanical problems, really flying through the order. John Hutchinson getting it wrong and clatters into the barriers there. That was just never going to go right for him all the way in there. Meanwhile, the leaders continue. Mike Jordan holding on to this lead, won the first race at the meeting sponsored by his own sponsors, wants to do the same in the second one. Can Martin Short unseat him? Running out of time to do so. Hutchinson comes back across the track there after his spin. The leaders avoid him. Not quite sure what he was thinking about there. Perhaps getting to a place of slightly better safety than the runoff area on the outside, I suppose. Lead battle goes through anyway successfully. And let's have a look at that again. Hutchinson, well, doing the right thing, but perhaps a fraction later than he should have done. Leaders escape though without failures or problems. Now Michael Caine really harrying Martin Short for second place. Caine trying to insert himself into this battle for the lead. Jamie Campbell-Walter close, but not really able to put in a move at the moment. So the lead group here surprisingly static for a TVR race. All very close indeed. Close battles further back as well. Eugene O'Brien now being passed by the number 3 car of Steve Cole as he pulls off. O'Brien goes through the chicane. Looks like he's got a mechanical problem of his own there. Looking down inside the cockpit. And that is game over player 1, I think, for the number 69 machine. Meanwhile, there is the reigning champion, Phil Hindley. Troy Dunlop behind him. Then it's the 45 car of Simon Harris leading this long train, and at the back of it, James Patterson. Grant Tromans with rear damage, and spinning is Steve Cole. Lays down smoke as the 3 cars immediately following go past him. Recovers and away he goes. And he'll be furious with himself for that. No such mistakes, I don't think, from Mike Jordan. Tyre smoke though as they come into Quarry, and Martin Short pushing him through. Short really swarming all over the back of the car. Running down the farm straight now into the S's. Jordan well over to the left of the picture, to the right hand side of the road, to make sure that Martin Short can't get by on the inside line. And he is going to defend all the way here, Mike Jordan, but he'll have to be very cautious indeed, because Martin Short is quick and clever. So too is Michael Caine in 3rd place. If Short makes a mistake, then Caine will go by into 2nd. Through Tower they go. Short run up to the chicane for the final time into Bobby's. Checkered flag awaits. They're about to lap Brian Colwell, but I don't think he'll get in the way of this battle. They're running down Dean Straight into Camp Corner for the final time, and Mike Jordan will win it. Will Martin Short hold on to 2nd place at the line? Yes, he does, from Michael Caine and Jamie Campbell-Walter, 3rd and 4th. Double victory at Castle Combe for Mike Jordan in the 77 machine. Well, a fantastic result for him. He picks up the trophy for 1st place, and a happy man. So too his sponsors, I'm sure. Money well spent, good exposure for them. There is the top 6. Jordan stays 7th in the championship, but Ian McKellar leading now by just 24 points from Michael Caine.